Thanks for wanting to find out more about yourself through the personalized full-length astrology movie that's made just for you. This valuable, in-depth analysis will give you a greater understanding of you, well beyond your zodiac sign. But as a reminder, or even just a refresher, here's a recap about your sign before we move on to your other significant planetary influences. You're a Libra, so chances are you are charming, diplomatic, and refined. You're a lover, not a fighter. You'd much prefer everyone to just get along. You do your part to make the world a more harmonious place. You instinctively know how to treat others with respect, cooperation, and courtesy. You make acquaintances easily and have natural diplomacy. Your mediation skills are well known, and friends often seek you out when they need a good listener, affable advice, and a fair and balanced view of situations. Your ability to see both sides of an issue helps you in negotiations, but it also contributes to your extreme indecision. Making up your mind can be a huge challenge. You are so nice and want to be liked and admired that many times you'll bend over backwards to avoid confrontation. You are often sought out for your aesthetic flair, sense of style, and artistic viewpoints. Sound familiar? Well, the exciting news is that we are going to take a thorough look now at the influence of all the planets and how they're affecting you beyond your sun sign. Astrology is a very complex set of mathematical calculations that applies timeless wisdom from ancient Greek and Roman mythology. Be prepared for revealing insights about your destiny and how you can move more easily and effortlessly towards your ambitions and aspirations to ultimately lead to a richer and more fulfilled life. You will also gain a much greater understanding about how to attract an abundance of love, luck, and good fortune by reaping the benefits of Venus and Jupiter. Perhaps you've had more than your fair share of hard knocks and challenges throughout your life, and you want to dig into what's really holding you back from reaching your goals. The position of Saturn can shed some light, but you're going to discover so much more. So sit back and enjoy this movie that's all about you. In astrology, we have a close relationship with the planets. Far from being distant balls of ice, rock, or gas, the astrological planets have an influence which is up close and personal, and which pervades every aspect of our lives. The planets used in astrology are the very same planets you probably learned about in school: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which, according to astrologers, is still considered a planet. To that list, we add the Sun and the Moon. The Sun and the Moon are technically not planets. The Sun is a star, and the Moon is a satellite to our Earth. But for the ease of reference, astrologers call them planets. Each and every planet is said to embody a particular energy. This energy is expressed or channeled in a particular way via the zodiac sign where the planet was on the day you were born. We know you're a Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of love and affection, but there's much more to this feminine planet than just cuddles and candy. Venus energy is concerned with personal relationships, love, but also friendship and family ties. This planet also rules social graces, tact, diplomacy, and charm. Venus energy also relates to our values and to what we want to acquire and hold on to. For this reason, Venus is also strongly connected to money and finance. This is why many people of your sign find it easy to acquire wealth, and how far many will go to secure a financial future. Through this planet, we discover what makes us happy and what our tastes are. Sensual pleasures in all their forms, from sex to food, are a Venus preoccupation. But Venus can easily crave too much of a good thing. Venus is an important planet because it tells us a great deal about how you relate to other people and about what pleasures you seek in life. Your destiny path in this lifetime makes best use of your past life experiences and your current gifts, skills, and talents, combining all of these to lead you towards your soul's highest potential. It's the secrets of the North Node which reveal the direction of your destiny, but there will always be challenges along the way. Your soul is here to learn, so don't expect an easy ride from your destiny path, but do expect to become a more enlightened and integrated soul through your destiny's tasks, trials, and tribulations. It would be so easy to just carry on doing what you've always been doing, but embracing the lessons of the North Node will transform your life into a richer, deeper, and more meaningful experience. Your North Node is in Taurus, which means your destiny will be found by simplifying and reducing your dependence on material things. Your best course of action is to find ways in which you can learn from natural processes which are able to build and create resources without becoming possessive about them. You are likely to be working in some way with power issues, particularly in the power and control that other people have, which stands in your way. Your ability to handle resources, establish reliable foundations, and be comfortable with what you have will be the ways in which you stand up for your own sense of values. You are likely to be challenged by the emotional dependence which arises around financial and material possessions. Whether you are able to break free from the limiting security issues which seem to continually bind you will depend on your methods of simplification. You need to enjoy the natural abundance which you can create. This is found through sensual and physical pleasures which have nothing to do with materialism. Developing a physical presence which is all-encompassing will pull you away from the need to rely on external props, whether other people or possessions, and come to rely on your own strengths as true friends. Being comfortable with yourself as an independent entity, confident that you are worth it, is the goal achievable through simplifying your life so that who you truly are can be found. They say love makes the world go around, and finding that special someone to have and to hold is hugely important for most of us. In astrology, we look at the planet Venus for insights into your romantic nature. Love comes in so many different styles, but your Venus tells how you relate to your partner and what your strengths and weaknesses are in a relationship. Your Venus sign is also about your personal values, your guilty pleasures, and your finances. Whether it's romance or money, it's Venus which powers your desire to live the life you love. But there's much more to Venus than just love and money. Venus energy is also concerned with friendship and family ties. This planet also rules social graces, tact, diplomacy, and charm, and is connected with the artistic and fashion industries. Venus energy is not only about our values, but beyond that, it's about what we want to acquire and hold on to. Through this planet, we discover what makes us happy and what our tastes are. Sensual pleasures in all their forms, from touch to food, are a Venus preoccupation. But Venus can easily crave too much of a good thing. Venus also represents balance, peace, and harmony. Venus is an important planet because it tells us a great deal about how you relate to other people and about what pleasures you seek in life. In astrology, many planets were named for gods and goddesses. Venus is the Roman equivalent of the Greek goddess of love, Aphrodite. Venus was the goddess of love, sex, and fertility. She was also the goddess of prosperity, which is where the astrological connection to wealth and money comes from. Your Venus is in Scorpio, which means you don't fall into love, you crash into it. When you relate with someone, you do so with gusto and passion, and to the depths of your heart and soul. There is no lukewarm or halfway for you in this department. You give your all, and frankly, there are some people who just can't take it. That's their problem, not yours, and don't let anyone make you think otherwise. You should not have to hold yourself back. Focus on finding someone who delights in your energy, rather than being ashamed or frightened of it, and you can find much happiness and satisfaction in your partnerships. Your connections to other people run so deep that you feel very vulnerable, and besides that, your feelings get hurt easily. So, early on, you must have learned that you need to protect yourself. This self-protection mechanism can make you rather shy and reticent about expressing your true feelings and warmth for another, at least until you feel comfortable. If your early experiences with love and romance were hurtful, you may have receded into celibacy or hermithood. Just don't let that last forever. Lick your wounds, then come out and try it again. That's where the love is. What gets you out of bed in the morning? What lights your fire? Mars, the passion planet, holds the answer to this and much more. Mars is important in your love life, along with Venus, but your Mars sign is about much more than just physical passion. Mars rules anger too, showing us what pushes your buttons and where your pressure points lie. However, Mars also reveals your greatest strengths and your leadership abilities. This very special planet is the key to success and achievement, powering your ambitions, driving your focus, and inspiring you to strive. Mars as a planet has always inspired wonder here on Earth. From speculation about Martians and the canals on Mars, to our modern-day ambitions to visit the Red Planet. Mars could be considered a masculine counterpart to feminine Venus, but there is so much more to it. Mars is named for the ancient Roman god Mars, the equivalent of the Greek god Ares, god of war. The mythological Mars was a warrior who had a passionate, illicit affair with Venus, the goddess of love. He embodies all things masculine. It's no accident that the astrological glyph for Mars is the same as the commonly understood symbol for a male, a small circle with an arrow extending upwards in a northeast direction, traditionally thought to represent a shield and a spear. Mars is hugely energetic, forthright, ambitious, and active. This is potent energy, decisive and determined to win at all costs. Mars represents the competitive urge and the need to take action. This is not a planet content to bide its time. Mars drives us to be first and to be best. It is powerful energy and can be overpowering if not channeled constructively. Mars relates to our basic drives. What motivates us is ruled by Mars. At its best, this planet is motivational and hungry for success. At its worst, Mars brings ruthlessness, selfishness, domination, and anger. Essentially, Mars is crucial in telling us what makes you tick as an individual. It's an all-or-nothing planet, but for each of us, the line we cross when pushed occurs at a slightly different place. We look to Mars to see what in your life you will fight for, and how determined you will be to win that ultimate battle. Your Mars is in Sagittarius, which means you're too adventurous and peppy to sit still for very long. So you're constantly on the go, seeking new adventures, finding them even in the course of your daily life. You are very energetic and have a natural athletic ability, enjoying exercise and sports as well as competitive events. What others force themselves to do, you find fun. Your feet may carry you far around the globe, for you love to travel and explore, and the experiences you find there feed your desire to know and understand and do everything you possibly can. Personal freedom is a must for you, and if you ever feel tied down, you will try to escape from the situation, job, or relationship that is stifling your independence. You get excited easily, and this upbeat energy is infectious. If there's any warning to watch out for, it would be that you are sometimes insensitive to others, never maliciously. You just get so carried away with passion and energy that you inadvertently run over others, either emotionally or physically. Usually, a quick and sincere apology will clear everything up. The planet Mercury rules your mind, your thinking style, and your intellect. How you think influences everything from the kind of decisions you make to how creative you are and how you react to change. Mercury is known as the messenger planet because this zippy little planet rules communication too. Of course, how you communicate plays a big part in how you come across to others. What you say and how you say it truly matters in so many life situations, from work to love. So let's get started on what your Mercury sign has to say about you. Your Mercury is in Virgo, so you have a keen, piercing intellect, and you can zero in on required information like a hawk on a mouse. Your mind works efficiently and quickly. You learn best through organized, logical courses of study, and you may be drawn to math and the sciences. Capable of very detailed work, you don't shy away from numbers, figures, or equations. You tend to be very orderly in your thinking and methodology, which makes you naturally inclined toward academics, research, study projects, and the like. However, you don't want to be too abstract. You prefer work that has practical benefit, and not just for yourself, but for others as well. You may have very dexterous fingers and the ability to do fine work with your hands. Your hands may even be vital to your job. You may sometimes suffer from nervous anxiety or lie awake in bed at night while your mind goes around and around. That sense of needing everything to be perfect, an impossible goal, no? Is something you'll need to work on if you're going to learn how to relax enough to enjoy life. As the old saying goes, don't let perfect get in the way of good. Jupiter is everyone's favorite planet because traditionally this planet brings luck and abundance in its wake. Jupiter shows us where in your chart there is an abundance of blessings, even if you often overlook how fortunate you truly are. Your Jupiter sign highlights things which make you smile, things which bring you joy, and things which bring you hope. Sometimes we can have too much of a good thing, though, and your Jupiter sign also hints at where in life you may take things too far, overindulging or overstretching yourself. Find the right Jupiter balance, and happiness will follow. Each of us makes our own luck in our lives, but it's true that luck and good fortune do seem to come easier to some people than to others. Although Jupiter doesn't create luck in itself or cause winning lottery tickets to rain down upon us from the skies, this jovial giant of a planet does have energies which help us to make the very most of every opportunity which comes our way. For this reason, Jupiter is considered to be the most fortunate planet of all, provided you know how to use the gifts it brings. Jupiter's energies are all about expansion. Through Jupiter, we grow. The way Jupiter functions reveals how you go about finding opportunities in life, and how you handle the circumstances which face you. Jupiter also rules other expansion-themed topics, such as wisdom and learning, travel, and hope. These are very intellectual and philosophical energies, which are fundamentally optimistic and positive. With Jupiter in Capricorn, you have big ideas about how the world ought to operate, but they are stifled by a restrictive and confined belief system. Your mind hungers for knowledge, and you are willing to work hard to thoroughly learn the subjects you're interested in, and you want to put them to practical use. You'll feel best about yourself if you have an educational degree, which serves not only as a recognition of your academic achievement, but also for the status and respect it brings. Your biggest challenge is to avoid being restricted by tradition. After you master the classics, you must step out of the box created by the "it's always been done this way" mindset, difficult as that may be. In business, you tend to be optimistic, perhaps investing in ventures that don't live up to your high hopes. In response, you swing too far the other way and become too conservative. The key to mastering this placement is finding the balance between expansion and restriction, between growth and reduction, between excessive optimism and depressing pessimism. Walk the thin line of balance and you'll succeed. Of all the planets in your birth chart, it's Saturn which holds the biggest key to your lifetime lessons. Known as the Lord of Karma, Saturn rules your duties and responsibilities, the things which keep you awake at night. By looking at your Saturn sign, you can find out what wisdom you came into this life with and what you have yet to learn. Your Saturn sign also reveals the extent to which you are your own worst enemy, perhaps undermining your own confidence or holding yourself back. Saturn is a tough taskmaster, and the lessons he teaches are never easy, but they are so worthwhile. Because of this, Saturn often gets a bad rap. Who wants to love a planet which channels every stern headmaster ever, stepping in to stop all the fun and reminding you that you still haven't lived up to your potential? It's true that Saturn energy can be difficult, but personal and spiritual growth comes through tackling Saturn's challenges and learning the lessons this planet is determined to enforce. It's important to remember that Saturn's somewhat dour reputation comes into its own just when we need it most, too. In a real crisis, the stability and focus of Saturn energy has a lot to offer. Saturn is all about obligations and limitations. This is sober, serious energy, and it comes with an authoritative voice. It suggests how you both express and react to authority. You can even think of Saturn as your inner parent. Saturn brings you self-control and resilience and a healthy respect for boundaries. Structure and conformity are also Saturn qualities, as is determination. Saturn energy is hard-working and disciplined and not given to flights of fancy. The Roman god Saturn was the equivalent of the Greek god Kronos. Kronos and Saturn are associated with time. This is where the connection of time and age gives rise to many of Saturn's qualities. Saturn's sign will also reveal the lessons you are likely to learn in this lifetime. Your Saturn sign is where you grow and mature. Saturn is known as the planet of karma because it teaches us that our actions have consequences always. Having Saturn in Scorpio means your drive and endurance and the depth of your strength and will are amazing. Not that they are always visible, because these qualities run deep in you, not necessarily on the surface. However, they create the foundation upon which your decisions are made and your life evolves. And the soil underneath the foundation? That would be fear. Fear that even if you are safe and secure now, you won't be in the future. This type of anxiety results in some sort of action that will help allay your fears. Behaviors such as living far below your means, or hoarding, or, more sensibly, saving regularly to ensure your future. This fear also extends to your intimate relationships. You feel compelled to take care of yourself because your core belief is that others can't be trusted to take care of you. Of course, then you seem to attract partners who can't or won't take care of you. This belief can be very isolating because of your chronic mistrust. The good news is that you can change it by honestly addressing your core fears and working to alleviate them by understanding yourself. When you reach a healthier psychological state, you not only maintain those important qualities of strength, drive, and endurance, but you can also have the authentic, intimate relationship you desire. If you're feeling rebellious or on edge, your Uranus is probably hard at work inciting your inner rebel into action. If you're coming up with amazing insights and genius ideas, that's also Uranus's influence. Uranus is exciting and magnetic, a bringer of change and a herald of things to come. However, this planetary influence can also signify emotional coldness, aloofness, and a desire to shock. At its best, Uranus helps us to create the future with flashes of originality and a true sense of the humanitarian bigger picture. At its worst, it reveals our isolation, perversion, and disruptive natures. Uranus is associated with independence, freedom, original thinking, and all things scientific and technological. Uranus highlights your quirks and your individuality, as well as suggesting how much you follow or don't follow rules and conventions. This is also the planet of rebellion. It tells us if you're a game changer or a future leader. However, the flip side of Uranus can be a certain aloofness or an unwillingness to get emotionally close to others. Uranus is also about shocks and upsets, and where you may either experience or unconsciously cause disruption, surprises, and sudden changes of heart. This is a generational influence that affects everyone born within a 7-year period near the day of your birth. All by itself, Uranus is probably not the most important feature of you, but it describes some general conditions that were activated during that period. And to a certain extent, you and those of your generation carry that energy forward with you as you mature and develop. Those with Uranus in Sagittarius will revolutionize the areas of religion, faith, travel, and education. You and your peers are likely to have very unusual ideas and beliefs about these subjects, and as you grow and mature, you'll do things quite differently than your parents did. At your best, you're self-directed in your learning, travel, and spiritual experiences. Science and gadgets appeal to you. Your learning curve shows spurts of insight rather than gradual progress. The world will shrink for your generation, connected as it is by technology, yet your view of the universe will grow. Neptune is one of the most mysterious planets, simultaneously driving our idealism, but also planting seeds of confusion and doubt. Neptune energy is notoriously nebulous and difficult to pin down. When you feel the effects of Neptune, it can bring about a fundamental change in your self-understanding and your spiritual growth. Normally, Neptune represents idealism. This planet's sensitive, intuitive, healing energy is compassionate and spiritual, but it can also manifest as illusions and confusion. Often, Neptune brings forth our greatest fears and anxieties, but it can also represent healing powers, an ethereal magic, psychic abilities, and the power of dreams. This highly spiritual planet is often associated with a spiritual quest, and we either turn inwards and find the divine spark within us, or seek gurus or teachers in the external world. Neptune is the second of the generational planets, spending 14 years in each sign. Everyone born within that period around the time of your birth will have Neptune in the same sign. By itself, Neptune's sign is not the most important factor. However, this placement symbolizes what was going on in the world at the time you were born, which has left an imprint on you. You and members of your generation are each imbued with this particular energy, and in some ways, it characterizes everyone born during this time. Each individual will express it in their own way, some more strongly than others. As a group, those of you born with Neptune in Sagittarius are very idealistic about religion, philosophy, education, and travel. Deception or false illusions regarding these areas is also in the mix. The ultimate purpose for you and your generation is to refine and purify spiritual practices and faith. Pluto used to be considered the most distant known planet in our solar system, although it was demoted in 2006 and is now astronomically classified as a dwarf planet rather than a full planet. Astronomy has no direct correlation with astrology, however, and astrologically speaking, the planet Pluto is still alive and well. The astrological Pluto speaks of power, rebirth, transformation, and evolution. Pluto energy can be very destructive, but only in the sense that something must be torn down before anything new can be built in its place. Through Pluto's energy and influence, we undergo metamorphosis, emerging from chaos and tumult as new, if not always better, people. Pluto shows us how you view power and how likely you are to manipulate those around you. This planet can tell us about your darkest obsessions and your hidden jealousies and resentments. It can also reveal your inner powers and your extraordinary ability to transform yourself and to evolve. Pluto brings radical change into all of our lives, which is often deep-rooted, lasting, and transformative. Pluto is also symbolic of secrecy and of things which must be uncovered. Pluto is the final generational planet. It spends so long in a sign, anywhere from 12 to 28 years, that it affects everyone born within that time period near your birth. All by itself, it is not the most important feature of you, since such a huge number of people share this placement. However, it does describe some general conditions that were activated at that period, and, to a certain extent, you and those of your generation carry that energy forward with you as you mature and develop. Pluto is all about power, and the Pluto sign of anyone in power shows how they will wield this important responsibility. During the time Pluto was in Scorpio, the disease AIDS was named and spread around the world. Suddenly, there was new power in the sex act, and the results could kill you. You and your peers grew up with the feeling that the world could be a deadly place. Your challenge is not to succumb to that fear, but to overcome it through blending personal strength and caution. As your generation matures, you will be able to make the hard choices that need to be made for the good of the planet and its inhabitants. I hope you have enjoyed your in-depth personalized astrology movie. Did you know that humankind has been studying astrology for thousands of years? Amazingly, early humans were tracking lunar cycles from animal bones marked with lines and patterns to record the phases of the moon. Throughout history, so many famous and respected people have found astrology to be an invaluable tool for self-understanding and decision-making. In fact, Carl Jung considered astrology to be a vast treasure house of psychological insights, and he wrote that astrology was a source of inspiration for the school of psychotherapy and psychoanalysis techniques which he pioneered. For example, in a letter to his then mentor, Sigmund Freud, Jung wrote, "I am looking into astrology, which seems indispensable for a proper understanding of mythology. There are strange and wondrous things in these lands of darkness." People turn to astrology to seek answers in matters that the scientific method is not equipped to address. Scientific analysis is not designed, nor is it intended, to study non-quantifiable phenomena such as the personal meaning of one's own life. As the Dalai Lama has pointed out, what science finds to be non-existent, we must necessarily accept. But what science merely does not find is a completely different matter. It is quite clear that there are many, many mysterious things. Even some famous scientists, such as Isaac Newton and Johannes Kepler, were devoted students of astrology throughout their lives. Financial analysts and business leaders have long used astrology to understand the vagaries of market conditions and business cycles. J.P. Morgan was known to say, "Millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do." Astrologers in earlier ages were traditionally quite fatalistic and oriented towards precise predictions. Over the course of the 20th century, however, a modernization of astrology resulted in a more positive, humanistic approach, in which difficult conditions are redefined as challenging opportunities. The stars impel, they do not compel, is a common expression used by astrologers to convey this non-fatalistic approach. Astrologers today emphasize the importance of free will in determining how we respond to the changing seasons and cycles of our lives. This helps many of us deal with difficult situations and challenging life events, knowing there are opportunities to move beyond the hand we are dealt with. I hope you have found this in-depth movie all about you to be truly insightful, meaningful, and inspirational. Wishing you all the very best as you continue on your life's path journey and ultimately to the road of enlightenment.